Hey, eBay, how you doing? So this is a little advice for you based on a situation that I have currently going on with you. And let me know anybody else that has similar issues with eBay. Now, before I continue, I want to say that I love eBay. An amazing tool. I do recommend it for various people, but I do think that there are some critical things that eBay needs to fix. So let's talk about them. So, what happened in my situation? So, I hadn't used this particular account in a while, so I decided to go back and sell. Now, this particular account was linked to one particular bank account that I no longer use. So, I hadn't associated, I was linked to my PayPal account, and everything seems to go fine, so everything was fine. But then eBay comes in and says, your customer can't pay you. So, I didn't want to get a bad review. So, what I did is I sent out the packages. The customers had told me that they had already paid. I trusted them, and I sent out the packages, and I assumed that it would be resolved later. So I called eBay. eBay said to me, you need to change your bank account, and everything will be situated, and everything will be fine. So I did, and it did not go through. So then I called eBay, and again, and eBay told me, oh, well, we'll see what we can do, but you need to call PayPal to find out if the payment has gone through on their end because it's pending on our end. So I was like, okay. So I called eBay, I called PayPal, and PayPal said, we would have sent you an email if you got the payment, and it doesn't seem like anything has come through. So you need to call back eBay. So I called back eBay and I asked them, hey, so what's the situation? Can you tell me? Well, it says that it's pending, and they weren't clear whether the money was sent to anyone at all, and they weren't clear whether they assumed that it was sent to PayPal. So the money just seems to have disappeared. That's my assumption from what I gathered from eBay and from PayPal. And so I'm literally having to message my customers, and it's several transactions, and say, hey, listen, this is the situation. Um, and it's a hassle. It's a huge hassle. So that's one particular issue. And I think, I mean, for instance, another situation was I happened to not, I was selling Bakugan, these little balls that transform, and I mislabeled one, right? So I sent the wrong item. So I told the customer, I refunded the customer's money. I sent him the right item, and I allowed him to keep the items that he had received, which contained free gifts that were other Bakugan. And he still gave me a neutral review. So it brings about elements of society, humanity, all of those things. But I wonder why can't the AI or whatever is running just automatically look at the transaction and be like, this item was refunded, da 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 da. The customer even says so in the actual comment, which is kind of ridiculous. But, and it just, so all those things, plus the factor that eBay doesn't allow you to put links that associate to maybe a YouTube commercial so you can have your own QVC kind of element. So, am I going to get my money from eBay? I don't know. I've placed several calls. And I believe it has to do with the way they're basically they're switching to a whole new layout. So in the process of switching over to the whole new layout, I think there's a lot of missteps that are happening that is just a giant mess. And with the whole Facebook coming in, and I'm literally asking Facebook, hey, can you get in the auction business? Because clearly eBay is botching it up like there's no tomorrow. And they used to be the kings, queens of the whole kingdom, but it's like the dragon just swooped in and just annihilated the Red Cape. You know what I mean? And the dragon being their inability to communicate with one another, because I'm communicating with one person on Twitter, I'm communicating with one person through email, and I'm communicating with another person through the phone. And the person on Twitter will always be different, even though the thread of the conversation will be there, but I have to explain everything. There is no case number to the dialogue that I'm having with people, so that way they can refer to notes and be like, oh, okay, this is the whole situation. Let's keep working on it together as a conjoined team in order to address this issue and add our notes. Because this is something that we could repair within the system, which I believe is what's happening. So, what do you think? Let me know your horror stories on eBay. Um, it just sometimes, and it, I think also eBay should allow you to respond to your customers, and have that whole, to be able to, because when you get one or two bad reviews, you're done. You're done. And in order to build up to that and to have just one transaction, let's say, for instance, I had one transaction where the apartment pipes were being redone, and so I wasn't able to print, so I hand writ, and I paid for the shipping, even though I had already paid for the shipping in the internet. I wasn't able to print, so I shipped them by hand, and the customer said that they didn't receive them, even though I had given them the number and everything, and that case is pending, and that's been pending for a while. The numbers on there and everything, and it just all those kind of things. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I love you, eBay. I do this constructively because you need to get it together. If not, you're gonna become Blockbuster. Okay. I wish you a wonderful, wonderful eternity.